You spend 16 years in school, earn that coveted diploma, and then suddenly realize you're completely unprepared for one of life's most crucial skills, managing money. It's crazy, right? We memorize the Pythagorean theorem and can recite obscure historical dates, but most of us walk out of education without knowing how to build wealth, understand credit, or navigate insurance. It is ironic, and it's devastating for millions of people who seriously have no idea of what to do with their adult money. But that ends today. We're uncovering what the educational system doesn't want you to know, the real rules of money that separate the wealthy from everyone else. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why traditional financial advice often keeps you stuck exactly where you are. And, by the way, if you want more real-world money advice, hit subscribe and that bell icon. So, where do we start? With the basics. And that is the language of money. Just like you'd need to learn Japanese to navigate Tokyo, you need to learn financial literacy to navigate wealth building. And here's the first shocking truth. There are different financial languages depending on which economic quadrant you occupy. See this. Most schools prepare you to be an employee. They teach you to value job security, steady paychecks, and retirement plans. This is one financial language, but the truly wealthy speak a completely different dialect. They talk about assets, leverage, cash flow, and tax strategies. When Warren Buffett pays a lower tax rate than his secretary, that's because he's fluent in a language you were never taught. This language gap creates an invisible barrier. While you're focused on saving 10% of your income, the wealthy use debt as leverage. While you stress about credit scores, the wealthy build corporate structures that protect their assets. While you chase higher salaries, the wealthy build systems that generate passive income. Think of it this way. Employees trade time for money, but the wealthy build assets that make money while they sleep. As Robert Kiyosaki puts it, the poor and middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them. This fundamental difference isn't taught in schools because the system needs employees more than it needs entrepreneurs. Let's get specific about what you weren't taught. Take home ownership, the supposed cornerstone of the American dream. Schools push the narrative that success means saving that 20% down payment, securing a 30-year mortgage, and slowly paying it off. But here's what they don't tell you. While you're saving for years to reach that 20% threshold, housing prices are outpacing wage growth. In reality, sometimes taking a slightly higher interest rate or paying private mortgage insurance can be financially savvy if it means entering the market years earlier. In hot markets, the appreciation you gain by getting in sooner often overshadows the extra costs. This nuanced approach to home buying isn't taught because it doesn't fit the conservative, risk-averse mindset schools promote. And what about saving? We've all heard the classic advice. Save 10% of your income, like it's some golden rule. But let's be real, that number just doesn't cut it anymore. With people living longer, healthcare getting more expensive, and Social Security feeling like a big question mark, 10% is barely a drop in the bucket. The wealthy aim for saving rates of 25% to 40%, not by living miserly lives, but by increasing their income streams and understanding tax optimization. They don't just save more, they deploy capital more effectively. But schools don't teach aggressive saving strategies because they don't teach aggressive earning strategies. They prepare you for a single income source, not multiple revenue streams. And that brings us to one of the biggest gaps in financial education, compound interest. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world, yet most of us go through school without ever learning how to use it to our advantage. To put it into perspective, imagine a single penny doubling every day for 30 days. You'd think, okay, a few bucks, maybe. Nope. By the end of the month, that tiny penny would have turned into over $5 million. That's the magic of exponential growth. But instead of teaching us how to tap into this kind of wealth building, schools focus on the slow and steady grind, climbing the corporate ladder, saving whatever's left after bills, and hoping it all works out in the end. The wealthy? They get it. They start investing early because they know time is their biggest asset. They take advantage of tax-friendly accounts, reinvest dividends, and let compounding do its thing for decades. Meanwhile, most people don't even start thinking about investing until their 30s or 40s. By then, they've already lost 1 or 2 decades of compounding power, and that delay, it can mean the difference between a comfortable retirement and working far longer than you ever planned. The good news? It's never too late to start. Whether you're 25 or 55, the sooner you start investing, the more time your money has to grow. The key is to shift your mindset from working for money to having your money work for you, because that's what truly builds long-term wealth. And yeah, even if it freaks you out, you need to start now. That's another thing school drilled into us: the fear of messing up. In the classroom, mistakes mean bad grades. Wrong answers get you penalized. Failure is something to avoid at all costs. But here's the problem. That mindset makes adults terrified of financial risk, the very thing that can actually build real wealth. Look at any successful entrepreneur, investor, or business leader, and you'll see a trail of failures behind them. They don't just accept mistakes, they embrace them. They know that failure isn't the enemy, it's the tuition you pay for success. In other words, the wealthy learn from their missteps and adjust. Meanwhile, people stuck in the employee mindset tend to make one financial decision and stick with it for decades, even when it's clearly not working. And this fear of mistakes, it bleeds into another huge financial misunderstanding: debt. Schools teach us a one-size-fits-all rule. Debt is bad. Avoid it at all costs. But the wealthy know better. They understand the difference between bad debt, swiping your credit card for things that lose value, and smart leverage, borrowing money to buy assets that grow in value. Used correctly, debt is often the fastest way to build wealth. Think about this. If you had the chance to borrow money at 4% interest and invest it in something earning 8%, that's an easy win. Every smart financial principle says go for it. But most people never even consider these kinds of opportunities because they've been trained to fear debt across the board. And that fear? It keeps them stuck in the slow lane, missing out on chances to grow their wealth way faster. All right, let's talk about taxes. Quick question. Did you ever actually learn about taxes in school? Probably not. Most of us know more about ancient Mesopotamia than how to legally keep more of our own money. The only thing we're really taught is pay what you owe and move on. But you know what? There's more than that. There's tax planning. It's legal and incredibly smart to do. The wealthy set up businesses, structure investments, and use retirement accounts in ways that minimize taxes and maximize growth. The average employee might get a couple of standard deductions and call it a day. But business owners, they can legitimately write off things like cars, travel, home offices, and even healthcare. And don't worry, these aren't shady loopholes. They're built-in incentives in the tax code designed to encourage entrepreneurship and investment. Schools just never bother to teach us how to use them. Then there's credit, one of the most important numbers in your financial life. Yet somehow, schools never bother to teach it. They obsess over GPAs, drilling in the importance of grades and test scores. But when it comes to credit, silence. You graduate knowing how to solve complex equations, but have no clue why paying off a credit card in full might temporarily lower your score. But out of that classroom, credit is like a game, and more importantly, you have to know exactly how to play it. Don't worry, the key to a strong credit score isn't avoiding credit altogether, but about using it strategically, because you need to see it as a tool that unlocks opportunities. It determines everything from the interest rate on your mortgage to whether you qualify for a business loan, a rental apartment, or even a job. So, a credit score is built on 5 key factors: payment history, credit utilization, length of credit history, credit mix, and new inquiries. Schools never explain how these pieces work together, but the wealthy do. They know that keeping credit card balances low, maintaining long-standing accounts, and diversifying their credit types all contribute to a high score. And they understand something most people don't. Closing an old credit card can actually hurt your score because it shortens your credit history and increases your overall utilization ratio. That tempting store card offering 15% off your purchase might seem like a good deal in the moment, But opening unnecessary credit lines can damage your score, costing you thousands in higher interest rates later. The financially savvy don't just use credit, they leverage it. They don't see credit cards as simple payment tools, but as wealth-building instruments. They choose cards that offer cashback, travel rewards, and purchase protections, effectively earning money on every dollar spent. They take advantage of 0% promotional periods for major purchases or balance transfers, allowing them to borrow money for free while keeping their cash liquid. And they keep a close eye on their credit reports, catching fraud early to protect their financial reputation. More importantly, they understand that excellent credit unlocks doors that stay closed for everyone else. A strong credit score can save hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime in mortgage interest alone. It provides access to business loans, making it easier to scale ventures and build wealth. It can even lower insurance premiums and improve job prospects, since many employers factor creditworthiness into hiring decisions. Yet, despite how much credit affects nearly every aspect of life, schools send graduates into the real world completely unprepared. And that's why so many people stay stuck, because they don't even know the game exists, let alone how to win it. But if you want to be part of the game and win, then you need to subscribe to this channel, where we'll teach you everything they never covered in college. And it's free. Just hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and let's build your future the right way. See you there.